What's up everyone? Part 2 as promised. We are going to go ahead and start working on this tank. First we have the sand fall that has to be put back in, and we got
sand waterfall.
Yeah, sand fall.
Not a sand fall, it's a sand waterfall.
Alright, he says sand waterfall, it's a sand fall. But we're going to go ahead and put this back in the tank and we can go ahead and get it scaped, and we can worry about the plumbing afterwards. Alright, this one's moving pretty quick. We got the sand fall back in there, got the gravel dispersed back around, so this is basically what the tank will look like. Of course, we still have the bubble wall coming up the back wall, and this little cord is the pump that powers the venturi, that actually powers the sand waterfall. So there's a pump that goes through a venturi, and out the side of the venturi there's a pipe which is right there. You fill this reservoir full of sand, and it'll slowly pump it up with water, and the sand will slowly fall down. But that's it for now. And now next we have to start working on plumbing and water. So we've got 48 hours on this seam. You know what that means. It is time to go ahead and put water in this tank. We've got our Mag 18 pump here hooked up to the hose. We're gonna go ahead and start filling this baby. So you know what we say to that? Let her rip, Tater Chip.
No.
That's a pump.
Genius. Who decided to put a bucket in there? That's just amazing.
All right, so this is going to fill rather quickly, which will be fine as long as our seam holds. My pump had sucked there, so I'm gonna let this fill up for just a tad bit. But while we're doing that, the tank is still filling by the way. But this is the plumbing on top. I used to have a valve there, a valve here coming to the 700, and then a valve coming to the 1000. I had it sitting up, tied up to the wall. When Hoover and someone was back there, they let this pipe fall and break. So what it did was basically busted this T off of the end here, so I lost all my capability of diverting water to each tank. So what I'm going to do is basically cut this here, shorten that up just a tad bit, and then I'm going to replace basically this T up to this screw-in part and hook it back up to the white PVC pipe that's right there. So we got the bubble wall back on, and go figure the right side's all clogged. So maybe with it being underwater, they'll loosen up and air will start coming out. If not, then I got to go in and clean all the jets on the right side of the bubble wall. But we are just about ready to start pumping up water yet again. Rookie mistake, but I went ahead and started this plumbing without actually checking to see if we had PVC glue. So I ended the day yesterday and could not get the plumbing done, so I came back today. We are now 24 hours at this water height right here, so I am okay with go ahead and plumbing this in and hooking this back up onto our system. The second that happens, we can go ahead and add fish. You can see there's fish jumping around. It is 70 degrees today, so everyone's coming out happy and healthy. So once this is all done, I'm gonna then have to adjust my valves on top to get all three of these back in good flowing order in unison. I want the most going to that one, and then this is the second most, and this one's third. All of them return to the same thing, coming through these white pipes and going back to the waterfall on this side right here. So they then feed the plants and run down. As you can see, all these plants, tropical ones at least, are starting to wake up in here once again. As you guys can see here, I cut this plumbing in hopes that I would just be able to use a coupler and put this back together, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So I have my coupler and my glue. Go ahead and put this back together, and this tank will officially be plumbed back onto our system via the overflow. All right, as you can see, I'm up on top of this 1,000 gallon, So there goes the 2-inch return coming back. The first T is now glued in to a valve here. Got it going to another T here to a valve to the 700, and it goes all the way down to the 500 to where it reduces to a 1.5 inch with another valve down there. Now as soon as I turn this pump back on, this line will be live and water will be flowing. All right, while I was up on top, I went ahead and got a new light, got it plugged into our light switches so it comes on with the rest of the tanks. Everything is now plumbed in, ready to go. All I have to do is turn on the pump and all 3 of these tanks will be back on the system. All right, so she's officially full. Water is flowing over the overflow in the back there. Now basically we're just gonna wait for this to clear up a bit. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's this little speck of acrylic glue on the inside. I'm gonna go ahead and buff that off, but really there's not really too much to do on this front, but once that happens, we'll drain this back down and buff it and fill her back up. While I have it drained, I gotta fix this right side of the bubble wall because it is not running. As you can see, only the left side is. That's how the whole back wall is supposed to be. And then I've got to do one more thing and hook up the pump for the sand fall. And I've got to go to the store and pick up some bright, brilliant white sand to go ahead and put in that container down there. So I'll do that the next time I stop by the pet store. Won't be in this video, but it will be up and coming soon. And then the sand waterfall will be back on, flowing all the way down. But this is the tank in all of its glory. It's a little cloudy right now, but she is coming back to life. Well, she is back to life. And as you guys can see, that is the seam that we just did. Doesn't look too bad. It looks good for a patch job, but it still looks a little less aesthetic as the normal seam over here. And as you can see, I didn't get it quite as clear as the original seam, but I did my best. And it is holding water, it's doing great. So I'd say that's a job well done. Now with this tank being done and back on the system, we get to do the fun part and figuring out what we're going to put in here. Has to be well enough that the sand can still run and their tails won't, you know, brush all the sand out the way. We tried the Abba in here before and he would go and play in the sand and slowly brush it out of this reservoir. So we gotta pick the fish that goes in here quite strategically. And this used to be Lavaka's old tank too, so maybe she'll come back out here. We're not exactly sure yet. Can't put Tesla in here because he'll do the same thing with the sand, I do believe, but we might be able to try it. But he probably might try and burrow behind the sand waterfall. That would not be fun. But you know, as promised, told you guys once this tank is done, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this one here. This is the 750. We've had it full of water. I know it holds, it's fine. I've got both of the overflows capped. So what I'm going to do is run plumbing from this overflow. I'm gonna run it underneath the stands of all of these tanks. I'm gonna run it in line with these pipes that are already on the floor and pump it out into the river system here. So that'll have its own separate overflow. And then I've got to get a new pump, you guessed it, straight up from the pond. I'm going to run it with that behind all the stands and up into the 750. Of course, I'll do some individual filtration on here, probably some FX6s right underneath the stand. And then this tank will be up and going as well. We've got these two 135s down here that we're going to go ahead and just start building the stands for them. We're going to use these as quarantine tanks to replace the two that are right by where the Abba is. Replace the 110 and the 75 with two 135s here. The reason I like these, they're 52 inches long and they're 24 inches from front to back. So it is a good footprint to quarantine fish in. You can stick a 18-inch catfish in here and not feel bad. You stick an 18-inch catfish in a 75, you kind of feel bad. So we're gonna go ahead and get them out here. It'll open up this floor space here just a tad bit. And of course there's some cleaning up to do. Like we don't need this canopy, all these pumps we need to do something with. And this weekend we're gonna be working on something else. I'll show you in just a second. While I'm walking by, you guys remember this shovel nose got all messed up. As you can see, he's healing himself up, but what I think happened is this big stump log got added in there. I think he tried getting under it and realized he got stuck and burrowed himself through it and ended up scraping himself in the process. But I've been keeping my eye on him, and he's been doing well and healing up, so I am not worried about that guy. But coming in here, we've got the 3000. You guys remember we just got them two 10 foot by 4 foot by 1 foot tall tanks. We're gonna basically clear all of this junk off the top of here. This will be moved out to the pallet system behind the monster pond. And one of those tanks are gonna go from here all the way to there, come out 4 foot, be raised up a foot. I'll stick a pump in here, or I might use the water that's coming to the 3000, go into this tank that's sitting up here, and then overflow into the 3000. So it'll instantly be on our system and do perfectly. But let's go show you them tanks now that they're outside and all cleaned up a bit. All right, so we unloaded them off the trailer. The one with holes drilled in it just so happens to be the one that is cracked. Now right here, you guys can see the crack in it, which is not bad. I can honestly just sister it in a plate, either the whole length or do about halfway, and just gob up the silicone in this corner. Only being a foot high, there's not a lot of pressure going on here. So that's actually an easy fix there. But the one I want to use is this one right here. There's no holes drilled in it. There's no patches on it. And it's just a beautiful, it's 10 foot long, 4 foot wide, and 12 inches tall. Also with this first one, you can see where there was a patch sometime prior that they fixed with glass as well. But that is the tanks that I want to go ahead and try and get up there this weekend. So you guys are going to have to stay tuned. If you guys want to see more crazy videos with the Ohio Fish Rescue, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, stay fishy, my friends.